This is the perfect RIA, in case you didn't know. Bringing you all the strategies to help your business grow. Are you happy? Are you satisfied? Are you hanging on the edge of your seat? Sit back and listen in while you feel the beat, yeah. Another myth bites the dust.
Hello, TVR Nation. This is Amber Kuhn from the Perfect RIA. Thank you for joining me on today's Follow-Up Friday. On Monday, Matt and Micah shared a snippet of an upcoming masterclass that is all about the prospect process. A few things that you'll be able to hear are figuring out your ideal market. How do you talk to prospects? How do you get them to hire you before their appointment? And what's your team's involvement? So the guys were talking about how bad their prospect processes used to be, including Matt being told he looked like he just finished his paper route, or prospects saying that they just didn't know what he could do for them. In these situations and many others that so many advisors deal with, it all comes back to an absence of value in the prospect's mind. They went into what the prospect's first in-office appointment will look like for them. They said virtual meetings are slightly different, but they have the same concepts overall. But in virtual meetings, you have to be more on and more focused on presenting because you don't have all of that body language to use. Now, you need to set the stage for this first meeting before it even happens. So the prospect should have been communicated with on where to park. Can they see your signage? They need to see the receptionist as soon as they walk in. And no matter what is going on, they need to be greeted immediately. Now, here's something that stands apart. They aren't just given a hello. The receptionist takes off their headset, stands up, and greets the prospect by name. They'll even acknowledge how much they're going to enjoy meeting with the advisor today. The guy said that these things seem like nothing, but they're everything. Step 2 of this is the receptionist steps up from the desk and offers them a beverage. If they have any mobility issues, they immediately put them into a conference room so that they aren't having to make multiple moves. Matt said that for him, he wants everything stacked in his favor. So the environment matters, and having quality coffee, quality snacks, or paper that isn't crinkled, and a receptionist who's excited to see someone, that makes a difference and it ultimately helps you. For the advisor, you're likely still in a meeting, and the prospect is seeing you wrap up that meeting, and they're witnessing clients having a good experience. Once the clients leave, then you can do a quick introduction with that prospect and a welcome, and then allow for a couple minutes of transition before that appointment. But you want to make sure that you're with them exactly at their meeting time or even a few minutes before. Michael will then visualize the appointment. He's going to review the blue folder with his client's information and walk through greeting them, meeting them, and then, of course, transforming their lives. He isn't thinking about the questions that he's going to answer or whether they're going to hire him. His sole goal is to transform their lives, so he's giving them his full attention during that meeting. Now, when walking up to the prospect, you want to approach them with a big smile, full energy, and a good handshake. And then make sure that your outfit is professional too. Now, all of these things matter, and this is all before the technical part. The guy said if you can't connect with them, then it doesn't matter what knowledge you have. You won't be able to transform their lives. So this pregame part is so important. And when finally getting the prospects into the conference room, Michael will lead them in, and he's the last one to be seated. They'll go through some chit-chat, and then he wants to address whether they have or haven't talked to a financial planner before and address all the information that they've uploaded to his office. He'll go through what the meeting will look like, and then most importantly, start asking their questions. All right, let's get into action items. TPR listeners, as a reminder, Monday's episode was a sneak peek into an upcoming masterclass. So your action item from Monday is to email us at lifestyle@theperfectdiary.com so that you don't miss out on our masterclass releases. On Thursday, Jamie continued the prospecting conversation and wanted to go through how to know if someone is a good fit for them. She kicked off by talking about the 3 categories of people that they work with. One is a prospect, so someone that they want to engage in financial planning services, but they aren't sure if they're a good fit. The second is their clients, which for them is anyone who signed a contract and paid them a fee. And then third is centers of influence. So those are the people that you work with as a byproduct of what you do. So for her, that's a lot of CPAs, enrolled agents, or attorneys. Shalansky & Associates has a subsidiary called Plan Your Federal Retirement, which is a niche-based financial planning for federal employees. But before they started this, they were sporadically working with federal and state individuals, but it wasn't target focused. They used to take anyone as a client who was willing to take their advice and pay for it. They started off doing seminars, and they still do them today a couple times a year. And they also have an online learning management system. And while this is all geared towards federal employees, a lot of it really applies to anyone. Jamie talked about how there's always this need for financial advisors. She said every day people are dealing with money. So when it comes to marketing, Jamie said you need to look at what's working, which ultimately she said everything is working, but you just have to work it. And where she sees most advisors fail is that they try something once, they don't get the success that they want, and then they never do it again. Or you do something once or twice, it works well, and then you stop doing it. So you need to make sure that you're consistent, and that requires discipline too. Jamie said when they're doing their goal planning and setting with their advisors, they always start with the same question. How many clients do you want to onboard next year? But you need to start with a realistic number. Then you need to back into that number. Look at your closing ratio and figure out how many prospects do you need to meet with to hit that number. And whatever it is, you need to put that time on your calendar that's specific to prospect meetings. Then with however many prospects you need to meet with, you then need to look at the top of your funnel and how many people you need to reach. Now, again, make sure that number is realistic because you need to see how many people that you can onboard and also make sure that your team can onboard them as well. Now, when it comes to marketing to your audience, Jamie said that you just have to consistently show up because at some point there's going to be a trigger event in someone's life that'll make them want to make a change. And that's the rule about being disciplined with your content. You don't know what that triggering event will be or when it will happen. Now, with your content, Jamie said you need to start tracking the top of your funnel. And at her office, they use an if this, then that format. At the top of the funnel, it's someone becoming aware of them. So seeing their name or their content, or it could be a referral. They're a lead at this point. They don't necessarily want your help, but they're not a prospect yet. They become a prospect once they raise their hand and they want something. At that point, they have a specific need and they're wondering if you can help them. At Shalansky & Associates, they charge for the prospect meeting. And during that hour-long meeting, they spend that time answering all their questions and they get a ton of information. They aren't doing an in-depth analysis, but they're looking to see whether that person is on track or off track and then any areas of concern. They lead the meeting with what the prospect wants answered. And once they've asked everything, then they'll ask what else 3 times. By the 3rd time, they've normally addressed everything. And then at the end, they do a no-sell where the team will follow up with them in a week. And they don't onboard every prospect that they meet with. They have to meet their 3 Ps: personable, productive, and profitable. Now for Jamie, this means would she want to spend time with them? Are they willing to listen and take advice? And they need to meet at least the minimum cost for them to onboard a client. And they have to fit all 3 to be onboarded. Let's get into action items. Look at what kind of prospecting is working, which is everything, whether it's newsletters, seminars, videos, but you need to dedicate yourself to doing one thing consistently. You have to track what you're doing in all of your data to see what's effective and what isn't. And you must be disciplined and consistent with what you're doing. And know the top of your funnel. Know your minimums for working with someone. And how do you charge? And what do you need to keep your business afloat? Before we go, TBR Nation, if you want to grow and dramatically impact your life and those around you, and you want resources to help, reach out to us at lifestyle@theperfectRA.com, or you can visit theperfectRA.com/grow. That wraps up this week's recap. Thank you for joining me, and please share this or any of our episodes with another advisor or team member who you think might benefit from listening. And be sure to subscribe to the Perfect RA podcast so you don't miss an episode. Until next time, happy planning.
Hold on before we go. Something that you need to know. This isn't tax, legal, or investment advice. That isn't our intent. Information designed to change lives. Financial planning can make you thrive. Start today, don't think twice. Be a better husband, father, mother, and wife. The Perfect RIA.